welcome to Session 4, Health Check Overview. This session will give you a preview of the health check process at a higher level. My name is Tom, and I will be guiding you through the session. The health checks are aligned to the SAP Activate quality gates that you can see above. These checks, however, can be adjusted as needed based on different methodologies and where you're at in your project. But as a baseline, we try to stick to these gates. As we stated before, this is an in-depth review of your project processes and controls. It is not a design or configuration review. We utilize the content and artifacts you provide to us, along with the interview sessions, to come up with our detailed findings and analysis. We align to the PMI, ACP, Activate, and Scaled Agile Safe methodologies. The approach can vary a bit based on your methodology, the project phase you're in, and your project type. As stated before, we have 8 major focus areas on the left. Digital transformation is an optional area. On the right, we have a number of minor areas that align to these major areas. Depending on where your project is and the type of project, not all of these will be part of the health check. That will be discussed up front. The health check journey is a very detailed process. We start by reviewing the objectives of the process with the customer, understanding their scope, their work product, who's involved, and so forth. We then settle on the overall scope and timeline for the health check. We will provide a detailed schedule and artifacts that the customer can then adjust based on their timing and situation. Additionally, we recommend a survey, and we have a number of survey questions we can give to your team. We want that to be completely anonymous and people to provide an open feedback. We'll use that as an input to the process also if provided. As a reminder, preparing is critical. Do not underestimate the amount of time it takes to prepare for these sessions. We then conduct the interviews, and again, that can be whatever, 10, 15, 20 interviews, depending on your scope. We gather all of our notes and prepare a draft report. We then have multiple iterative reviews of that internally. And then we finally have a dry run with the customer and a selected number of individuals they provide. They'll give us feedback, we'll incorporate that, and we'll offer a second dry run, which is optional, but in most cases we do that. Finally, we'll provide a final presentation of the report to a steering committee or a select group of individuals the customer decides. Additionally, if chosen, we'll help the customer build out an action plan to address the most critical issues. As we stated on previous session, we have a toolbox of items that we use to come up with this analysis. Known failure points and red flags, historical perspectives on repeatable challenges we see often, project observations and impacts from other engagements. We have a set of targeted questions based on the major and minor areas. And we also have issue resolution approaches that we've seen over the past to help make suggestions. The interview sessions, again, will vary based on your scope and project type, but as an example, you can see some illustrative versions below. The interview process will typically be 45 minutes to an hour for each session. We ask that the customer have their lead, 1 or 2 subject matter experts, and if they care to, also have the partner lead engaged. We want to have an open discussion about the issues and risks. All information gathered is confidential. We don't use names or teams in our findings. The questions we provide are based on the project documentation provided, the methodology, and we utilize our database that are aligned to those various minor points. The project artifacts, we will provide you a template of artifacts we'd like to see. We don't expect to see every one of these, but there are certain ones that are very repeatable that we would like to see as part of this effort. Our report deliverables are an executive summary, a project management summary with the health check scorecard and details below that, a background on the overall process we went through, and then detailed observations by each one of the major focus areas. We also have an appendix with a list of the schedules and all that kind of information. The health health check scorecard, as we said before, is part of the project management summary. It will show you risk levels by low risk, medium watch, medium address, and high risk. And also, if marked in gray, that just means that it wasn't in scope for the effort. It will contain an executive summary, a health assessment scorecard, and then various observations for each one of the major categories. Again, this is based on the information provided to us during the interviews and the artifacts. Thank you again for attending the session today.